Hello there, I'm Dallas Johnson with Arizona Dealer Services, and we really do appreciate you choosing us to become your Arizona dealer license training partner. So as we get started, I want to first give you some really valuable contact information so you can use this either during your dealer license startup process, or you can use this contact information once you've obtained your dealer's license. And you can also use this information if you've been a licensed dealer for 20 years. So Arizona dealers are regulated by the Arizona Department of Transportation Motor Vehicle Division, and they have full-time staff, which is called the dealer licensing or sometimes dealer licensing unit. And there you see their mailing address, Motor Vehicle Division Dealer Licensing, P.O. Box 2100, MD 552M. That's in Phoenix, 85001. You can also call 602-712-7571. Once again, that's 602-712-7571. You can always ask for dealer licensing. And there's a great email address that you see on your screen. That's MVDLU. So think about this, Motor Vehicle Division Licensing Unit. So MVDLU at azdot.gov. Did you get all that? Arizona Department of Transportation. MVDLU at azdot.gov. You can drop them an email, and they will get back with you. Every time I've gotten an email sent to this email address, I've usually had a response within under 2 hours or less. So don't wing it here, on this new business. You've got great resources in Phoenix that are there to support you, and they want you to run a good, successful business because you're going to contribute to the economy. And then when you sell vehicles, obviously, that's going to generate revenue for the state. You can also go to azdot.gov. That's the Department of Transportation's official website. So I would also like to let you know that we have direct links on the website that you signed up for the training course. So, you can download documents that you need when you have obtained your dealer's license, or you can go there for direct links to e-title, MVD Now, things like that. So we're going to have a lot of great resources there for you to refer to, either when you're still starting on the process of getting your dealer's license, or maybe you've just gotten your dealer's license, or you've been dealer for 20 or 30 years. Hopefully you'll stay on that website, and there's a lot of great information. And we'll always try to have updated links at the website you signed up on, which is arizonadealers.com. Once again, that is arizonadealers.com to download many of the helpful documents that you're going to use once you've obtained your license. And there's a lot of great links for you there to different divisions for the state. So I want to quickly cover the initial steps that you're going to complete in order to obtain an Arizona dealer's license. And then we're going to go in depth in the process of each of these licensing steps to prepare you to submit your application to the state correctly so you can get your dealer's license as soon as possible, and you can open your business as soon as possible and hopefully get you to making some money as soon as possible. So you are going to have to obtain a dealer surety bond. You're going to allow a criminal records check. That's kind of a background check there. You're going to have a building and a lot. You're going to have a building sign and photos. You probably will need to register your business, and we'll talk about that extensively here in just a little while. You have to submit an application, and we're going to cover these steps extensively here in just a few minutes. But before we do, we're going to go in depth in all these steps here, so you will definitely be prepared to not only obtain your license, but to run your business with compliance. And by the way, compliance is an important word that I use quite often. Compliance means you follow every single rule, law, and guideline, because when you maintain 100% compliance, you're going to have your dealer's license for many, many years. And there really is an incredible amount of opportunity for you with a dealer's license. Really, the sky's the limit on what you can do with a dealer's license. And the way I look at it, the state of Arizona is really giving you a license to go out and make as much money as you possibly can, as long as you're willing to follow a few simple sets of rules and guidelines. And we're going to cover those extensively with you throughout the training course. So when you obtain your dealer's license, before you apply, you will actually have to, oops, I got a little ahead of myself there. You're actually going to have to determine the type of license category, since the state of Arizona does have 8 different license types. And so you're either going to be a new motor vehicle dealer, a used motor vehicle dealer, a wholesale motor vehicle dealer, a public consignment auction dealer, a wholesale motor vehicle auction dealer, a broker, a manufacturer, or a manufacturer of trailers. So let's talk about this. Let's go right down from the top to the bottom. A new motor vehicle dealer, a person who buys, sells, exchanges, or who is engaged in the business of selling brand new vehicles This is a license you must obtain if you're opening, say, for example, a Chevy, Ford, Toyota, or Kia dealership. So if you're selling brand new vehicles, you're going to have a new motor vehicle dealer license. A new motor vehicle dealer allows you to sell brand new vehicles. If you are selling new vehicles, you must submit an authorization letter or what's called a certificate of appointment signed by an authorized agent of that manufacturer or distributor that's licensed to conduct business in the state. So I don't think that's going to apply to most persons that are taking this course, but a used motor vehicle dealer license is probably what you are going to be obtaining, and that's probably one of the reasons you've signed up to take this course. This will probably apply to most people that are actually watching this video. A person who buys, sells, auctions, exchange, or is engaged in the business of selling 7 or more used motor vehicles in a continuous 12-month period must obtain a used motor vehicle license. Now, I get calls all the time. How many vehicles do I have to sell before I can get a license? The easiest thing to do, if you're really interested in selling vehicles for a profit, you should go ahead and get your dealer's license. That makes things much, much more easy. Okay, so this is a license that's going to get you into dealer auctions, and not only are you going to be able to get into the Arizona dealer auctions with your Arizona dealer's license, but you'll be able to get access to every dealer auction in the United States. There's even some up in in Canada, and a couple down in Mexico. So you can literally use your Arizona dealer's license to get into every single dealer auction in North America. So this license does not include a wholesale motor vehicle auction license. That's a separate license. And I've often gotten emails and phone calls from a person who says, hey, I want to get my auction license. Well, if you want to get your auction license, then you've got a great big facility where you are actually conducting motor vehicle auctions. I think you're probably going to be starting a small dealership on a lot. You need a used motor vehicle license for that. An auction license is if you are opening either a public or a wholesale motor vehicle auction. So I don't think it's going to apply to most persons that are actually, applying for this license. Okay, so there's also a wholesale motor vehicle dealer license. Now, a wholesale motor vehicle dealer license only allows you to sell vehicles to other licensed motor vehicle dealers. Okay, so if you have a wholesale license, you can't ever sell vehicles to the general public. Now, up there at the top, with the used motor vehicle license, you can sell not only retail to persons on your lot, but you can also sell wholesale. So a used motor vehicle dealer is what we call a retail dealer that allows you to sell retail sales on the lot to a customer and wholesale sales directly to other dealers or through dealer auctions. A wholesale motor vehicle dealer is called a wholesaler, and they can only sell to other licensed dealers or through the dealer auction. You can never sell a vehicle to a customer without a license if you only have a wholesale license, okay? Retailers can sell retail and wholesale. Wholesalers can only sell wholesale. A public consignment auction is an auction license that allows auctions to be held that are open to the general public. A wholesale motor vehicle auction is, say, for example, a dealer auction like an Odessa or a Mannheim. They have to have a wholesale motor vehicle auction, and they're only open to dealers, okay? A broker allows you to act as an intermediary between, the sale of a vehicle between a customer and another customer. So that's basically allows somebody to act as an intermediary between the dealer and then the customer. A manufacturer is, say, for example, if you're going to be manufacturing brand new vehicles, this is the license, say, for example, that Chevrolet, Toyota, these manufacturers will have. Okay, so a manufacturer cannot sell vehicles directly to a customer. A manufacturer, by federal law, must sell a vehicle to a new motor vehicle dealer, which is called the franchisee, and then that person will sell the vehicle to the customer on the lot. Manufacturers are not allowed to sell vehicles directly to a customer because of the United States 3-tier system. Otherwise, that would allow Chevrolet, Ford, Kia, Toyota, the manufacturers to basically open their own dealerships everywhere and completely control the market with absolutely no market competition. So that's a manufacturer license. And then there's also a trailer manufacturer license if that's something that you're interested in. If you're going to be making trailers, then you need to get a manufacturer of trailers license. Okay, so next, we are going to cover each step that you're going to need to complete in order to obtain a used motor vehicle dealer license. Okay, so I think that's what the majority of the people that are taking this course are going to be applying for is a used motor vehicle license. So you can open that very small lot and get access to every single dealer auction. Okay, the first thing you need to do is obtain a dealer surety bond. Okay, now the bond amount will be determined by the type of dealer license that you're obtaining. So if you're obtaining a new motor vehicle dealer license, a used motor vehicle license, or a public consignment auction dealer license, you will need to obtain a $100,000 dealer surety bond. Now, is this going to cost you $100,000? No, it's based on your credit score. So, I really don't have an accurate number for this, but you're going to get one of these from either, say, for example, an insurance company or a bonding broker. And with good credit, you're probably going to pay around $500 to $600 a year. I mean, that price could be different, especially if you have a couple of blemishes on your credit score. But with really good credit, you should expect to spend about $500 to $600 a year. Could be a little more than that. Could be a little less than that. And you'll get one of those from an insurance agent or a bonding broker. Now, if you're obtaining a broker license or wholesale auction license, then you're just going to need a $25,000 dealer surety bond. And that also applies to wholesale motor vehicle dealers as well. I want to repeat that. If you're going to get a broker's license, a wholesale auto auction license, or a wholesale license, then you need that $25,000 dealer surety bond. And that's going to run around $200 or so a year with good credit. But if you're just obtaining an automotive recycler license, you're only going to need a $20,000 dealer surety bond. A separate original bond must be submitted for each application and for each county in which the license has an established place of business. So you have to have a bond for each specific license and location. Now, when you get your bond, you'll have a power of attorney with that bond, and that must be attached to the bond. This is a common mistake during license application processes, is not only submit the bond paperwork, but the power of attorney paperwork. So the bond is going to have to be signed by an individual, or if you're a partnership, you got to have all partners, or if you're a corporation, then you have to have at least one corporate officer. Bonds may not be handwritten. They must contain all required signatures and have that original seal or stamp or sticker on that thing. Okay, so the bond must be continuous. And what I mean by that, you can never let your bond expire. If you're a licensed motor vehicle dealer in the state of Arizona, you have to remain bonded your entire licensure period. A dealer may never, ever let your bond expire. All dealers must remain bonded. Okay, so do please be aware of that. And, it can only be canceled upon written notice within 60 days from the bonding company to a dealer licensing unit. Your bond pricing is dependent on your credit score, and you can learn about bonds and what bonds covers and where to find the cheapest surety bonds in the dealer surety bond unit later on in this course. So we have a whole section on dealer bonds, and the dealer surety bond of this course should answer all your specific questions on dealer bonds and hopefully help you find the cheapest dealer bonds as well. Criminal records check. Each partner and each applicant who owns 20% or more of an entity and who seeks a new license must provide a personal history form and fingerprint card to enable the MVD to conduct a criminal records check. Okay. Now, everyone, I want you to be really aware, when you're getting your dealer's license, the state of Arizona is basically wants you to be a person of a high level of ethical standards. The state doesn't want to give a dealer's license to someone who's been rolling back odometers or stole a car. The last thing the MVD wants to do is just accidentally issue a dealer's license to somebody that was managing some auto theft ring or something like that. So they do basically require you to be of a higher level of ethical standards than the average person walking down the street. And the MVD also is aware that you're going to be conducting very, very large financial transactions. So many times, in many selling scenarios, it could just be maybe you and one customer, and you have complete oversight over these very large financial transactions, because most of the vehicles that you're selling at your dealership are going to be worth several thousands of dollars. And for most of your customers, this is their second largest investment, only behind their home. So you are given a lot of ethical responsibility. And, the state wants to make sure they didn't give a dealer's license to somebody that just got out of prison for robbing a bank or something like that. Okay. So the criminal records check may not apply if the application is for a subsequent license, or each partner and applicant owning 20% or more who's completed a criminal records check through the MVD through the past 5 years or is currently licensed. So, any applicant who has been convicted of fraud or an auto-related felony within the last 10 years or any other type of felony within the last 5 years will not be able to get a dealer's license. So I want to repeat that. Any person who's been convicted of fraud or, an auto-related felony in the last 10 years or any other felony within 5 years will not be able to have their name on an Arizona used motor vehicle dealer license. So, but if the application is denied, MVD will notify you in writing of the denial and the grounds for the denial. And if for some reason your application is denied, you can appeal the denial by requesting an administrative hearing. And if the denial is upheld, then you can appeal to the Maricopa County Superior Court for more information. Okay. And just as a real quick note, here are your dealer license filing fees. There's a $15 fee just to file for your dealer license. They're going to charge you $30 to run that criminal background check, and that's for each person that's on the license. So if you have 3 people on the license, it'll be $90. If you're the only person on the license, they just have to run one criminal records check, and that would be $30. The dealer license itself will be $100. The state's going to charge you $30 per dealer plate that you're applying for, and I'll show you how to apply for plates here in a little bit. If you're opening a branch location, so that's a separate location, there's a $50 charge for that. Later on, if you ever want to change locations, there's a $10 fee for that. And if you ever want to change your business name, there's a $10 fee for that. You always have to make sure all your records are up to date with the Motor Vehicle Division's dealer licensing unit. Let's talk about your very important established place of business requirements. The established place of business, this is your business building, okay? And it's very important that you always maintain compliance for your business building. Your business building must be a permanently enclosed building or structure, and you either have to own the building or you have to have a minimum of a 6 months lease. And you're going to have to supply this documentation to show the state that you either own that building or you have a minimum 6-month lease on that building. Now, you're going to have sufficient space to display 2 or more vehicles of the kind that you are licensed to sell. I want to repeat that. You've got to make sure that you have sufficient space to display 2 or more vehicles of the kind and type that you are licensed to sell. So the established place of business, that's your business building, must be devoted principally to the business of the operation of a motor vehicle dealership. A used motor vehicle dealer, public consignment auction dealer, or an automotive recycler can use a trailer with the wheels removed as your office, okay? But one thing I want you to really be aware of here, your building has to meet local zoning, okay? So one of the most important things that I have to tell you here, when you're shopping for a building, or maybe you've already got a building that you want to use, you'll need to contact either your city hall or your county and make sure that you can run a dealership at that location. So if you call your city hall or county, just ask for planning and zoning, tell them the address of the building that you want to use, and they'll tell you whether or not you can use that building. And if they say yes, then you have met your local zoning, okay? A wholesale motor vehicle dealer may operate from a location that is zoned for residential use. Applicants should always contact the city hall or the county courthouse office to ensure compliance with your local zoning. All owners listed on a wholesale dealer license are required to be an Arizona resident and have an Arizona driver's license or ID. I want to repeat that. Any person that's obtaining a wholesale license in the state of Arizona must be an Arizona resident and have an Arizona driver's license or ID. We've had a lot of out-of-state companies that would basically rent wholesale licenses to persons that don't even leave the state, and those persons were never in the state of Arizona. And like there could have been somebody in Kentucky that had a Arizona wholesale license and was never even in the state of Arizona. So they've kind of tightened this up a little bit. So all wholesale dealer licenses are required to be held by an Arizona resident that must have an Arizona driver's license or an Arizona identification. Let's talk about your very important business hours. You're going to have to post the business hours on the building, and you must staff the dealership during your posted hours. I want to repeat that. You must post your hours on the building, and you must staff the dealership during your posted hours. So you're required to post your hours to let your customers know when you're accessible, whether they maybe have questions about a vehicle they want to purchase from you, or maybe they have questions about a vehicle they've already purchased from you. You have to let your customers know when you're accessible, so they do know when they can speak with you about vehicles they're interested in or maybe have already purchased. You've also must be required to staff the dealership during your posted hours. So you can't say, for example, post the hours of 9 to 5 Monday through Friday, and you weren't there Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday. You can't do that. State law does require that you staff the dealership during your posted hours of operation. Now, the hours that you have posted and are staffing must match the hours that have been submitted on your dealer application. And if you ever change your hours of operation, you will have to give written notification to the director of the MVD with at least 10 days before the change of hours. So your hours are on record with the state. If you ever want to change those hours, you do have to give the state notification within 10 days of changing your business hours. Next, let's talk about your business sign. Every motor vehicle dealer and automotive recycler must have a sign that is legible for 300 feet away during daylight hours. I want to repeat that. You're going to have a sign that can be read from 300 feet away during daylight hours. The sign must be permanently either erected on the ground or permanently mounted to your dealership building. The sign's got to indicate that the business of a motor vehicle dealer or automotive recycler is conducted at or from that premises. So you might want to have the word auto sales or auto credit or something like that. Banners are not acceptable. So you can't just staple a banner on plywood and put that on the front of the building. A banner is not an acceptable sign. Any sign company should be able to produce you a sign, or a printing company. You should be able to get a hard plastic or metal or something like that sign produced at a very, very minimal cost. So you got to have a permanent business sign that basically identifies your building as a dealership. Now, a public consignment auction must also post that the dealer auction is exempt from implied warranties. So that's something, if you are opening a public consignment auction, you have to have a sign that says those vehicles are exempt from implied warranties, okay? And by the way, a wholesale motor vehicle dealer or broker must erect a permanent sign at the entrance of the place of business. Now, there's no size requirements, but if you are a wholesaler, you still have to have a permanent sign at the entrance of your place of business. And that sign must state the business name and indicate the business of a wholesale motor vehicle dealer or broker is conducted from that premises. So you might want to have the word broker or wholesale if you're a wholesaler or a broker, but you have to have that sign at the entrance to your building. There's no size requirements on that. Okay, so that's something I definitely want you to be aware of. Now, let's talk about corporations and LLCs. Corporations and LLCs must submit a copy of their articles of incorporation that are on file with the Arizona Corporations Commission. And if you're an out-of-state corporation that's opening a dealership in the state of Arizona, you must also file your articles as a foreign corporation with the Arizona Corporation Commission. And now any copies of current filings if you maybe already have annual reports and things like that, if applicable, must also be submitted when you're applying for your license. Okay, so maybe you're operating your dealership as an individual sole proprietor, but if you are, say for example, if you're incorporating this dealership, maybe you're going to be an LLC, or maybe you're just a single person LLC. This is allowed under state law. You know, you can't operate as a single member LLC. I'm not giving you legal advice here, but I'm letting you know the state does require, if you're operating your dealership as a corporation or an LLC, then you must submit your articles of incorporation that are on file with the Arizona Corporation Commission. And if you're an out-of-state corporation, you must also submit your foreign corporational documents that you have on file with the Arizona Corporation Commission as well. So with that being said, if you have any questions, you can contact the Arizona Corporations Commission, and that phone number is 602-542-3135. Once again, if you have any questions about corporational documents or LLC documents, you can contact the Arizona Corporations Commission at 602-542-3135, or you can go to azcc.gov. Once again, that's azcc.gov. So we do have another section that shows you how to register businesses with the Arizona Corporations Commission. Now, on a different note, if you're opening this dealership as what's known as a limited liability partnership, then you must submit a copy of the partnership agreement that you have on file with the Arizona Secretary of State's office. Now, that's a little bit different because corporations and LLCs are registered through the Arizona Corporations Commissions, but if you're a limited liability partnership, then you have to submit a copy of your partnership agreement that you have on file with the Secretary of State's office. That's a different division there, so there's a big difference between this. So if you need information on filing as a limited liability partnership in the state of Arizona, you can call the Arizona Secretary of State by calling 602-542-6187. Once again, if you have limited partnership questions, then you can contact the Secretary of State at 602-542-6187. Dealer license plates, okay? You know, automotive recyclers, public consignment auction dealers, and wholesale auctions and brokers are not eligible to obtain dealer license plates. I want to repeat that. Automotive recyclers, public consignment auction dealers, wholesale auctions, and brokers are not eligible to obtain dealer plates. But used motor vehicle dealers and wholesale auction dealers are going to be able to obtain a dealer plate. And we got a whole section later on. We'll cover legal dealer plate usage, okay? So there are different types of dealer plates, okay? New, used, and wholesale, okay? And there's a $30 fee for a motor vehicle dealer plate. There's a $30 fee for a trailer dealer plate. And there's a $10 fee for a motorcycle dealer plate. That's just a little small motorcycle dealer plate that will fit on a motorcycle. So the right to use a dealer plate expires upon license expiration. So if you ever let your dealer's license expire, you can't use your dealer plates legally anymore. So the fee to continue the right to use a dealer plate must be submitted on or before your license expiration date. If you let your license expire and you're driving on a dealer plate, you are breaking the law. Okay, so we got a whole section later on. I'm going to let you know how to legally use your dealer license plate. You definitely want to make sure you are maintaining compliance when you get your dealer's license with your dealer license plates. The state does have some really strict guidelines on those. And when I tell you how to use them legally, you're going to realize there's a lot of dealers out there that are actually using theirs illegally. So we'll cover this extensively later on in your Arizona dealer training course. Internet access. All dealer licensees are required to have a computer and internet access. I want to repeat that. All dealer licensees are required to have a computer and internet access. So electronic internet access is required to accomplish various business functions that are required to operating a dealership. And these business functions related to your license are going to include renewing your dealer's license when it comes due, renewing dealer plates. You can issue TRPs, which we're going to cover here in a little bit. You can issue 30-day general use permits, which we're going to cover here in a little bit, and also by corresponding with the MVD. So you definitely have to have internet access. In the old days, you could probably run this business without internet access, but it absolutely is not allowed anymore. You have to have internet access to stay compliant, and we're going to run over all those processes here in just a little while. It's very important to know if you are assisting your customers in financing, there are a couple of other requirements. Now, I know many dealers that tell every customer just to bring in cash. A huge amount of your customers that you are trying to sell vehicles to are going to need a loan for the vehicle that you're trying to sell them. And you can certainly tell every customer just to pay with cash, but you're literally turning a very large percentage of your customers away. But if you're selling on what's a non-cash basis, and this might be where you hook up with a third-party financial institution. What's a third-party financial institution? A third-party financial institution is a company that wants to give loans to your customer. So when you've got a customer on the lot, and let's say, for example, they say they want to buy this vehicle, but they want to go to a bank and get a loan, and they'll be back in a little while. You can say, hey, hold on a second. We have third-party financing, or what we will call on-the-spot financing. So when you've hooked up with a third-party financer, you can go into your desk and normally just have to get the customer's name and birth date, possibly their home address. And these third-party financiers will normally, not every time, but will normally be able to get your customers a loan regardless of their credit. They can have good credit, bad credit. Even really customers with bad credit could probably get some what's called subprime, and they will pay higher interest rates. But if they're making their payments, you've not only helped them get into a vehicle, but you're probably going to help them rebuild their credit. But with that being said, this is called selling a vehicle on a non-cash basis. So if you're selling on a cash basis, the customer's paying cash and financing is not involved. But if you're selling on what the state refers to as a non-cash basis, then you have to have an agreement with a financial institution or a bank, and you're going to be required to submit a contract with a third-party form and a one-time fee of $300. Okay, so you'll be able to do that in what's called the dealer community, which I'm going to show you how to do that here in a little bit when you apply for your license. So I want to repeat that. If you're offering any type of third-party financing, you're going to have submit the contract that you have with that third party, and a one-time $300 fee will be assessed on your dealer license invoice. And then every year you're renewing, the state will charge a $150 fee each renewal cycle thereafter. Now, what's a little bit different is if your dealership's going to be a buy here, pay here business. Now, if you're buy here, pay here, that's where you go down to the dealer auction and you buy that vehicle and then sell it on your lot to somebody that maybe can't get a bank loan, and they make payments directly to you. That's a buy here, pay here dealership. And I'm going to strongly encourage you to get some legal advice before you do that, because there is another level of compliance there, because you will have to have installment contracts and things like that. And you'll also have to contact the Arizona Department of Financial Institutions at 602-255-4421. Once again, that's the Arizona Department of Financial Institutions at 602-255-4421 license information, because you will have to have a license if you are going to be a buy here, pay here dealer. So I don't want to discourage you from being a buy here, pay here dealer. I do actually encourage it, but I strongly encourage you to consider getting your dealer's license. Maybe hook up with one of the third-party lenders and get a little bit of experience. When you decide you might want to make the jump to becoming a buy here, pay here dealer, it's absolutely imperative that you get legal advice that are going to draw you up installment contracts, and you will have to submit those contracts when you contact the Arizona Department of Financial Institutions and get your buy here, pay here license. So keep that in mind. It's very important that if you are doing on-the-spot financing, there's a $300 initial fee when you're applying for your dealer license, and $150 a fee that is charged every year on renewal. And if you're going to be a buy here, pay here dealer, you will have to get a license with the Arizona Department of Financial Institutions. So let's talk about that expiration of your license, okay? A dealer license will expire when the licensee, that's you, when the dealer fails, neglects, or refuses to pay the required fee for the ensuing year. So if a dealer fails, neglects, or refuses to pay the required fee for the following year on or before the license expiration date, then the fee will be deemed delinquent, and a penalty equal to the fee will be added and collected at the time of the renewal. So if you forget to renew your license, a penalty that's equal to that fee will be added and collected at the time of the renewal. And you definitely want to try and avoid ever allowing your dealer license to expire. That can run to some additional costs, okay? So when you're renewing a motor vehicle license, that's going to be completed at secure.servicearizona.com, okay? Once again, once you obtain your initial license, you need to make sure that you're always renewing your dealer license in a timely manner, and you'll be able to do that at secure.servicearizona.com. So to establish a username and password, you're going to need to contact Service Arizona Assistance Desk, and you can call them at 866-436-9533. Once again, when you're setting up your Service Arizona account, you can call their customer assistance at 866-436-9533, or you can drop an email to them. That's going to be easyhelp@us.ibm.com. Did you get all that there? I'll read that one more time. That is going to be easyhelp, EZHELP, at us.ibm.com. And then they'll send you an email where you can verify your identity. Okay, so just that being said, renewal fees are not accepted by the dealer licensing unit. Renewal fees for your dealer license are not accepted by the dealer licensing unit. You will have to renew your license through the Service Arizona. Okay, and it is the motor vehicle dealer's responsibility to update all contact information through either the secure.servicearizona.com or the dealer licensing unit. So you are required to always make sure that you have all of your contact information up to date, and you can either update that information directly through secure.servicearizona.com or through the dealer licensing unit. And here in just a little while, I'm going to show you how easy it is to create an account on secure.servicearizona.com. We'll cover that here in just a little bit.